For 48 years, I built what I thought was an unshakable life. A successful bakery in Boston's North End that started as a tiny storefront and grew into 3 locations. A daughter who became a pharmaceutical researcher. A home filled with the smell of fresh bread every morning. My name is Sarah, and what I'm about to share with you shattered every assumption I had about trust, motherhood, and the man who smiled at my Christmas table while planning to kill me for $2 million. It started on December 18th, 3 days before my daughter Emma's engagement party. I was driving home from my flagship bakery on Hanover Street. Black ice. That's all it took. My SUV spun out on the Zakim Bridge, hit the guardrail, and I woke up 2 days later in Massachusetts General Hospital with a fractured spine, 2 broken ribs, and temporary paralysis from the waist down. The doctors said I'd walk again, but it would take months of physical therapy. The speech was harder. The impact had caused some kind of neurological trauma that made my words come out slurred and confused. I could think clearly, but when I tried to speak, it sounded like I'd had a stroke. That's what came out when I tried to say Emma's name that first day I woke up. My daughter was there, of course. Emma, 25, brilliant, beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with makeup and everything to do with her father's kind eyes and sharp mind. She'd been crying. "Mom, oh my God, you're awake. Don't try to talk. The doctors said it'll get better. Your brain just needs time to heal." Next to her stood Ryan Mitchell, her fiancé of 3 months. Tall, well-built in that gym-obsessed way, perfect teeth, expensive suit even at a hospital bedside. Investment banker at Goldman Sachs. Or so he said. I'd met him exactly 4 times before the accident. Each time, something in my gut had twisted. He was too smooth, too perfect, too interested in my business, my assets, my estate planning. How are you managing 3 bakeries and retirement funds, Sarah? Have you thought about life insurance? What's your succession plan if something happens to you? I chalked it up to being an overprotective mother. Emma was my only child. After her father died of a heart attack when she was 12, I'd raised her alone, poured everything into making sure she had opportunities I never had. I worked 16-hour days to pay for her MIT education. I missed her dance recitals and graduation ceremonies because I was negotiating lease agreements and managing staffing crises. She'd forgiven me, or so I thought. But there was distance between us. A wall I'd built with my absence. When she brought Ryan home, I saw how he made her laugh, how he seemed attentive and caring. How he'd helped her move into her new apartment, paid for her research conference in Geneva, supported her pharmaceutical career. Who was I to object? I'd been too busy building an empire to teach my daughter what red flags looked like. "Mrs. Chen." Ryan's voice pulled me back to the hospital room. He always called me Mrs. Chen. Never Sarah. Too formal. Too distant. "Emma and I have been talking. With your injuries, you're going to need round-the-clock care for the next few months. We want to postpone the wedding and move into your house to help." "No." The word formed in my mind clearly. "No." What came out was, "Nunu." Emma squeezed my hand. "Mom, I know you value your independence, but you can't even get to the bathroom alone right now. The doctors said you need 24/7 supervision. Ryan's taking a leave from work. We've already arranged it." She looked at Ryan with such trust, such love. He smiled at her, that perfect Wall Street smile. Then he looked at me. And for just a second, I saw something else in his eyes. Something cold and calculating. "We'll take good care of you, Mrs. Chen. I promise you that." The first week home was a blur of pain medication, physical therapy sessions, and humiliation. I couldn't walk, could barely move my arms, couldn't form coherent sentences. Emma worked long hours at her lab, some new clinical trial that required her to be there from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. most days. Ryan was always there, always helpful, always watching. He'd bring my meals on a tray, help me take my medications, adjust my pillows, monitor my vitals. "You're doing great, Sarah. Your recovery is right on track." But I wasn't doing great. I was getting worse. The pain was intensifying instead of diminishing. My thoughts were getting foggier. I'd sleep for 18 hours and wake up exhausted. My hands trembled when I tried to hold a cup. The speech therapist said I should be showing improvement by now, but I was regressing. It was December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. Emma had left for work at 6:30 that morning. Ryan brought me breakfast at 8. Oatmeal, orange juice, my morning pills laid out in a neat row. 5 medications today, Sarah. Doctor's orders. This blue one is for pain. The white one is for inflammation. The yellow one is your antibiotic. The red one is a muscle relaxer. And this small green one? That's a new vitamin D supplement. You're deficient. I took them obediently. What choice did I have? I couldn't even hold the pill bottles myself. Within an hour, I was drowsy. So drowsy. My eyelids felt like lead weights. I heard Ryan moving around my bedroom, but I couldn't keep my eyes open. That twilight state between sleep and waking, where you're aware but can't move, can't respond, that's when I heard him on the phone. It's working faster than expected. His voice was low, just outside my bedroom door. He must have thought I was fully asleep. The increased dosage is really taking effect. She's barely conscious most of the day now. Silence. He was listening to whoever was on the other end. My heart started pounding, but my body wouldn't move. How much longer until I can file the claim? The policy is $2 million, and we've only been executing the plan for 10 days. I don't want the insurance company to get suspicious. My blood turned to ice. Policy, insurance claim, plan. No, Emma doesn't suspect anything. She thinks her mother's just having a rough recovery. I convinced her that clinical trial needs her there late every night. She barely sees Sarah anymore, doesn't know how bad it's gotten. He laughed, actually laughed. The will was easy. Sarah signed it 2 days before the accident, remember? We had that estate planning meeting I set up. She doesn't even remember signing the new version, the one that makes me executor and Emma's beneficiary. But since Emma and I are getting married in 6 weeks, it all flows to me anyway. I wanted to scream, wanted to move, wanted to do anything, but my body was paralyzed, not just from the accident but from whatever drugs he was pumping into me. The speech thing is perfect. Even if she tries to tell Emma, she can't form words. She just sounds confused and brain damaged. It's almost poetic. The voice on the other end must have asked something because Ryan's tone shifted. Marcus, relax. I've done this 3 times before. Always works the same way. Target a successful single parent through their kid. Court the kid. Isolate them from the parent. Get access to the estate documents. Create a crisis that requires caregiving. Then slowly increase the dosage until it looks like complications from the original injury. Natural causes. No one investigates natural causes in a recovering accident victim. 3 times before, he'd killed 3 people. My daughter was dating a serial killer, and I was number 4. I heard his footsteps coming back into the room. Felt him check my pulse, adjust my blankets. Sleep well, Sarah. Only a few more weeks to go. Then Emma and I can start our new life with your bakeries, your house, your money. She'll be devastated, of course, but I'll be there to comfort her. I'm very good at comfort. He left. The door clicked shut. I lay there, tears running down my face, unable to move, unable to speak, unable to warn my daughter that the man she loved was murdering her mother. It took everything I had to stay conscious the rest of that day, to fight through the fog of whatever drugs he was giving me. When Emma came home at 9:30 that night, I tried. God, I tried. Ryu. Ba. The words wouldn't form. She sat on my bed, holding my hand, misunderstanding completely. I know, Mom. Ryan's been wonderful, hasn't he? I'm so lucky to have him. He's taking such good care of you. She kissed my forehead. The doctors said your speech will come back. We just have to be patient. Get some rest. Ryan made you soup for later. Soup, probably loaded with whatever was destroying my system. After she left, Ryan brought the soup, watched me eat it. Every drop, Sarah. It's important for your recovery. I was trapped. That night, while they slept in the guest room, I lay awake. My mind was finally starting to clear slightly. Maybe I'd built up a tolerance to whatever he was giving me, or maybe the evening dose had been smaller. I could think again. I needed help. But how? I couldn't speak, couldn't write legibly with my trembling hands, couldn't access my phone. Even if I could, who would I call? Who would believe me? Ryan had covered every angle. The medications he was giving me were probably variations of my legitimate prescriptions. The doctors would think my paranoid accusations were drug-induced confusion or brain damage. Emma was completely under his spell. I had no close friends. I'd been too busy building a business empire to maintain relationships. The only person who might believe me, who might help, was Marcus Rodriguez, my ex-boyfriend from 20 years ago. Marcus and I had dated for 5 years in my 30s. He was a Boston police detective then, now a lieutenant in the major crimes unit. We'd broken up because I chose my business over our relationship, refused to marry him because I was too focused on expanding my bakery locations. He'd been hurt, but we'd stayed friendly over the years. Cordial. We'd run into each other at neighborhood events. He'd bought bread from my bakery every Sunday morning for 2 decades. He knew me. Knew I wasn't prone to paranoia or dramatics. But how could I reach him? Then I remembered something from a documentary Emma had shown me years ago, about prisoners of war communicating through blinks, Morse code, dots, and dashes. I'd thought it was fascinating at the time, even memorized the basics as a mental exercise. Could I use it? Could I signal for help if I could just get someone to look at my eyes? The next morning, Christmas Eve, I waited. Ryan brought breakfast. More pills. I pretended to swallow them but kept them in my cheek. Spit them into my water glass when he left the room. I needed to be alert. Around 11 a.m., I heard the doorbell. Ryan answered. "Can I help you?" A familiar voice. "Hey, I'm Lieutenant Rodriguez from BPD. Is Mrs. Chen home? I heard about her accident. My mother attends her church. Mentioned Sarah was recovering here. Thought I'd drop by with some panettone from the North End. Wish her a Merry Christmas." My heart leaped. Marcus. Here. God or fate or dumb luck had brought him to my door. "That's very kind," Ryan said, his voice dripping with false warmth. "But Sarah's sleeping right now. She's had a really rough recovery. I can give her the bread when she wakes up. I'd actually like to see her for just a minute if that's okay. Pay my respects in person." There was a pause. Ryan clearly didn't want to allow it, but how could he refuse a police lieutenant? "Of course, but please keep it brief. She gets tired easily." I heard footsteps approaching my bedroom. Ryan's and Marcus's. When they entered, I was propped up in bed, eyes open. Marcus's face when he saw me. Shock, horror. I must have looked terrible. I'd lost maybe 20 pounds. My skin was gray. My eyes were sunken. "Sarah. My God. I'm so sorry about the accident." He approached the bed slowly. Ryan hovered behind him. I needed to communicate. Needed Marcus to understand. I looked directly at him. Blinked deliberately. Dot, 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 dash, 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 dot, 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 SOS. The international distress signal. Did he notice? His eyes narrowed slightly. He pulled up a chair, sat close to my bed. "Sarah, I know you can't speak well right now, but can you blink for me? Once for yes, twice for no. Can we try that?" I blinked once. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. "Lieutenant, I don't think this is a good idea. Sarah gets confused easily. The neurologist said her responses aren't reliable right now." Marcus ignored him. "Sarah, are you in pain?" I blinked twice. "No." "Are you comfortable here?" I blinked twice. "No." "Do you feel safe?" I blinked twice. "No." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Ryan, could you give us a moment? I'd like to speak with Mrs. Chen privately. I'm her primary caregiver. I need to be present." "I'm not asking, son. I'm a police lieutenant conducting a welfare check. Please step outside." Ryan's face went hard for just a second before the mask slipped back. "Of course. I'll be right outside if Sarah needs anything." He left. The door stayed slightly ajar. Marcus leaned close. Whispered, "Sarah, if you're in danger, blink 3 times." I blinked 3 times. Fast. Desperate. "Is Ryan the danger?" 3 blinks. "Is he hurting you?" 3 blinks. "Is Emma in danger too?" 3 blinks. Marcus pulled out his phone. Started typing. "I'm going to show you letters. Blink when I get to the right one." "What is Ryan doing?" He went through the alphabet slowly. I blinked at P, then O, then I, then S, then O, then N. "Poison." Marcus's face went white. He's poisoning you? 3 blinks. Do you know how? Again. The alphabet. M. E. D. S. He's overdosing your medications? 3 blinks. Sarah, do you know his real plan? More letters. K. I. L. L. M. E. Then I. N. S. U. R. A. N. C. E. Then 2. M. Marcus sat back. His hand was shaking. In 20 years as a cop, I'd never seen him shaken. Jesus Christ. Sarah, I'm getting you out of here. Right now. Is everything okay? Ryan appeared in the doorway. Mrs. Chen seems agitated. Marcus stood, his body language completely different now. Authoritative, controlled. Actually, Ryan, I need to speak with you about Mrs. Chen's care. There are some concerns about her medication levels. Would you mind showing me what prescriptions she's currently taking? I don't understand. Everything is prescribed by her doctors. Then you won't mind showing me the bottles. Standard procedure for a welfare check. I could see Ryan calculating, weighing his options. He couldn't refuse without raising more suspicion. Of course, they're in the kitchen. The moment they left, I heard Marcus on his radio. Quiet but urgent. This is Lieutenant Rodriguez. I need immediate backup at 47 Beacon Street, apartment 2B. Suspected poisoning in progress. Victim is immobile, cannot speak. Suspect is on premises. Send paramedics and crime scene unit. Within 8 minutes, my house was full of police officers. Paramedics rushed to my bedside, started IV fluids, took blood samples. Ryan was in the living room, his lawyer face on, claiming this was all a misunderstanding. Lieutenant Rodriguez is an ex-boyfriend of Mrs. Chen's. He's clearly biased. Sarah is recovering from a car accident. I've been providing care according to her doctor's instructions, but Marcus had already called my actual doctors. They arrived within the hour. Reviewed the medications Ryan had been giving me. Their faces told the story. Mrs. Chen, this is Dr. Patel. I never prescribed half of these medications. This oxycodone dosage is 5 times what I authorized. This benzodiazepine isn't on your chart at all. These aren't vitamins. They're blood thinners that could cause internal bleeding in your condition. The police collected every pill bottle, photographed everything, took Ryan's phone. That's when they found the messages to someone named Marcus Chen, not Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez, a different Marcus, the partner, the one Ryan had been talking to on the phone. The entire scheme was in those text messages. Target acquired. Single mother, assets estimated at $8M, including 3 businesses, house, investments. Daughter is isolated, easy to manipulate. Timeline, 6 months to engagement, then create crisis. There were photos, screenshots of my bank accounts that Ryan shouldn't have had access to, copies of forged will documents, and the insurance policy, $2 million, purchased 3 weeks before my accident. Beneficiary, Ryan Mitchell. But the signature wasn't mine, it was forged. This policy was filed online, the insurance investigator explained. Someone used your social security number, forged your signature on the digital forms. It's fraud on top of attempted murder. They arrested Ryan at 3 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Emma came home to find police cars in the driveway. She ran into the house. Mom? What's happening? Where's Ryan? She saw him in handcuffs, saw the police hauling away evidence bags. No, this is wrong. Ryan, tell them this is wrong. He looked at her with contempt, the mask finally, fully off. You were always the job, Emma. Just a means to an end. Your mother's money, her businesses, that's all I wanted. You? He laughed. You were boring. Your research stories put me to sleep. I had to pretend to care about molecular structures and clinical trials. Do you know how tedious that was? Emma's face crumpled. She looked at me, saw the IV in my arm, the medical team surrounding me. Mom, did he hurt you? I couldn't speak still. But I didn't need to. A female detective, Officer Chen, stepped forward. Your mother's been poisoned over the last 2 weeks. Ryan's been systematically overdosing her medications to simulate complications from her accident. She would have died within another week. The toxicology reports show lethal levels of opioids and benzodiazepines in her system. Emma collapsed, just dropped to her knees. Marcus caught her before she hit the floor. I didn't know. Mom, I swear I didn't know. I thought he loved me. I thought I was finally happy. She looked up at Ryan being led away. How many others? The detective consulted her notes. We found evidence of 3 previous victims. A widow in Connecticut, 2019. Cause of death listed as complications from pneumonia. A divorced father in New Jersey, 2021. Listed as heart failure. A single mother in Rhode Island, 2023. Listed as medication overdose, ruled accidental. We're reopening all 3 cases. Ryan shrugged. Good luck proving anything. I'm very careful. That's when Marcus stepped forward, pulled out his phone. Actually, Ryan, or whatever your real name is, we have you on recording. Sarah was awake when you made that phone call yesterday, and I set up audio surveillance the moment I left here last night after my first visit. We have 12 hours of you discussing your plans, your previous victims, the insurance scheme, everything. Ryan's face went pale. For the first time, real fear showed through. They took him away. Emma spent that night in my hospital room at Mass General. The doctors had transferred me immediately to flush the toxins from my system. She held my hand while I slept. When I woke on Christmas morning, my head was clearer than it had been in weeks. Mom? Her voice was small, broken. Can you understand me? I nodded, carefully formed words. Still slurred but more coherent. Yes. He are, you. She burst into tears. I'm so sorry. I was so stupid. I brought him into our lives. I trusted him. I almost got you killed. I squeezed her hand. Tried to speak. Nah, your fault. He fooled me, too. Over the next 3 months, my speech came back almost completely. The paralysis resolved. I learned to walk again with physical therapy. Emma took a leave from her research position to help with my recovery. Real recovery, this time. We talked. Really talked. For the first time since her father died, we addressed the distance between us. I was so angry at you for years, she admitted one February afternoon while helping me with leg exercises. You missed everything. My competitions, my achievements, my struggles. I felt like the bakery was more important than I was. It was never more important, I said. My words were slow but clear now. I was trying to build something for you. Security, opportunity. But I was wrong. I should have been there. I'm sorry, Emma, I'm so sorry. She cried. I cried. We grieved together for the years we'd lost and the relationship we never had. But we also started building something new. Emma came to the bakery with me, learned the business, not because I was pushing her, but because she wanted to understand the thing I'd devoted my life to. She was brilliant at the operational side, created efficiency systems that saved us thousands. We became partners in a way we'd never been mother and daughter. Marcus became a regular presence in our lives again. He'd visit for Sunday dinners, help Emma set up security systems in my house, review all my legal documents to make sure everything was legitimate. One evening in March, after Emma had gone home, he sat across from me at my kitchen table. Sarah, I need to tell you something. When I saw you in that bed on Christmas Eve, looking so broken, I realized I never stopped loving you. I know we had our chance 20 years ago, and I blew it. I interrupted. You wanted a life together. I chose ambition over love. That was my mistake, Marcus. We were young, different priorities. But now, he reached across the table, took my hand. I'm 53 years old. You're 48. We're not kids anymore, and I don't want to waste whatever time we have left. I almost lost you to a psychopath. I'm not walking away again, if you'll have me. I looked at this man who'd saved my life, who'd believed me when I couldn't speak, who'd spent 20 years buying bread from my bakery just to see me for 5 minutes a week. I'd have you, Marcus Rodriguez. I absolutely would. We got married in June. Small ceremony, just Emma, Marcus's 2 grown sons from his first marriage, and a few close friends. Emma was my maid of honor. She'd started dating again, cautiously, with extensive background checks run by her new stepfather. Ryan Mitchell, whose real name was Ryan Thompson, was convicted on 4 counts of murder, 1 count of attempted murder, insurance fraud, identity theft, and a dozen other charges. The trial revealed he'd been part of a larger operation. Marcus Chen, his partner, was actually his brother. They'd been running romance scams targeting wealthy single parents for over a decade. They're both serving life sentences without parole. The families of Ryan's previous victims reached out to me. We formed a support group, meet quarterly, share our stories, try to heal together. One of the hardest conversations I ever had was with the daughter of the Rhode Island victim. She was Emma's age. She'd also believed Ryan loved her mother. She'd also missed the signs. "How do we forgive ourselves?" she asked me at our second meeting. "I don't know if we do," I said honestly, "but we learn to live with it. We honor our mothers by being smarter, more vigilant, more aware." Emma sold her condo and moved back home for a year. Not because she needed to, but because she wanted to. We'd spent so many years apart that we craved proximity. She eventually moved into her own place again, 10 minutes away. Close enough to come over for coffee every morning before work. The bakery is thriving. Emma introduced inventory software and online ordering systems that increased our revenue by 30%. We opened a fourth location last month. This one is dedicated to her father's memory. Photos of him line the walls. His favorite recipes are featured specials. Emma manages it. She's good at it. She's good at a lot of things I never took the time to notice. Looking back now, almost 2 years since that Christmas Eve when my ex-boyfriend saved my life and my daughter's trust was shattered, I can say this. Some betrayals you don't see coming because they wear the face of love. They speak the language of care. They show up when you're vulnerable and offer help with poison hidden in their pockets. Ryan had targeted Emma because she was lonely. Because I'd been an absent mother who prioritized business over bonding. Because she wanted so desperately to be loved that she missed every red flag. That's my fault, my legacy of absence. But here's what I learned. It's never too late to change. To show up. To choose people over profits. Emma and I are closer now than we've ever been. Marcus and I have a second chance at love that we're not squandering. The bakery is still successful, but it's no longer my entire identity. If there's a lesson in all this, it's this. Trust your instincts. Always. When something feels wrong, it usually is. But also, forgive yourself for being human, for making mistakes, for missing signs because you wanted to believe in love. Emma wanted to believe Ryan loved her. I wanted to believe I'd done enough as a mother, built enough success to make up for my absence. We were both wrong, but we survived. We're healing. We're learning what real love looks like. It's not perfect. It's not smooth. It doesn't come with a Goldman Sachs business card and empty promises. Real love shows up with Morse code knowledge and a police radio. Real love learns inventory software to help with your business. Real love sits at your bedside on Christmas morning and says, "None of this was your fault." Pay attention to the quiet signs. The partner who isolates you from family. The caregiver who seems too eager to handle medications alone. The person who asks too many questions about your assets, your insurance, your estate planning. The rushed timelines and pressure to make major decisions quickly. Love doesn't need your death to thrive. Love doesn't count the days until inheritance. Love doesn't come with a body count. I'm 49 now, married to a good man, closer to my daughter than I ever thought possible. The bakery still smells like fresh bread every morning. My body still aches sometimes from the accident and the poisoning, reminders written into my bones, but I'm here, I'm alive. And every morning when I wake up next to Marcus, when Emma texts me pictures of her new apartment, when I unlock the bakery door and turn on the ovens, I'm grateful. Grateful for second chances. Grateful for a police lieutenant who noticed Morse code blinks. Grateful for doctors who exposed the poisoning. Grateful for a justice system that actually worked. Grateful that sometimes, when you're at your most vulnerable, unable to speak or move or defend yourself, someone shows up who speaks your language. Even if that language is just desperate blinks in a dark room, because that's all it takes sometimes. One person who looks closely enough to see the truth. One person who believes you even when you can't find the words. One person who refuses to walk away when evil wears a charming smile. Marcus was that person for me. Now I try to be that person for others. We all need someone who'll notice our SOS, who'll answer the call, who'll bring the cavalry when we can't save ourselves. That's love. That's family. That's survival. And I'm still here to tell this story.